Hi everybody. So for today's video, I just wanted to go over a few things to help keep your immune system healthy and up and going while we are going through this crazy flu season and the other common stomach bugs that are going around and the common cold. So these are probably things that you have obviously heard of before, but I just kind of wanted to do friendly reminders and just to give you some helpful tips and to kind of show you some products that I would like to use and that I would use personally if I was sick, and just some other little tips if you're going to go out and about to help you or to help prevent you from contracting those viruses that are out there. Okay, so when you're down and out and you are probably fighting the flu, for one, I am very sorry if you are currently going through that. It's a very terrible thing to go through. It's no fun. But it is important to remember to keep your body hydrated, okay? Because other than the ways that we lose body fluids, either by, urinating with our saliva or sweating, when you're sick, you're losing more body fluids than usual. And that's usually by the excessive vomiting or a long bout of vomiting and diarrhea. And it's very important to make sure that we replenish those fluids that we are losing, okay? And the reason why is because it can lead to dehydration, and when you are dehydrated, it can hurt your organ systems, and it can help your body not function properly, okay? And also you're losing electrolytes. So it's very important that we replenish our bodies with the fluid and to replenish our electrolytes. Now, if you don't quite know what an electrolyte is, that's okay. I know that it gets thrown around a lot, like, oh, we should replenish our electrolytes, but let me explain to you what electrolytes are and why they are important and why it is important to make sure that we replenish those, especially when we are sick, okay? Electrolytes are chemicals that form ions in our body. So they help your body function at their optimum levels. Okay, so think of electrolytes kind of like the motor oil that you put in your car. It doesn't mean it's not what makes your engine run, but it makes everything else function properly. It's necessary for everything to run smoothly, right, in your car. So that's what electrolytes are like in your body. They are necessary for the proper functioning of your digestive system, of your nervous system, of your cardiovascular system, and of your muscular system. Like some examples are they help with muscle contractions, and they also help with the transmission of nerve impulses. So think about it. If maybe if you've been dehydrated, or if you haven't drank enough in the day, I don't know if you've ever noticed like maybe some muscle cramping like in your legs and your arms. That's usually due because you're lower on fluids, but you're also low on electrolytes. So why is that important when you're sick? Well, when you're sick, like I said, you're losing all that extra fluid, and so your levels or your electrolytes are also low. So it's important to replace those, like I said, in order for your body to function at its optimum levels. You're wanting to replace those to make sure that all those organs in your body are being able to work properly. Okay, so when you go to the doctor, sometimes if they want to check your blood after being sick, what they do look at in your blood levels are, especially your electrolytes, and the most common ones that they are looking at are your sodium, your chloride, your potassium, and your bicarbonate levels, because those are some of your major key players when we talk about electrolytes forming those ions in your body. So just keep in mind, I'm not going to get into the whole like chemistry and scientific level of it, but just keep in mind that they are important in order for your body functions to function properly. So when you're sick and you've lost all those fluids and you need to replenish, definitely drinking water is the number one, obviously, fluid to use. But sometimes, if you're sick and tired of water and you want something that has a little bit more of a flavor, there are some products out there that I use to help replenish that and that are actually infused with some electrolytes. One of them that I would like to go over is the vitamin water. I like it because, one, it's going to have vitamin C, some other vitamins, some antioxidants, and it's got your electrolytes in there. This one is tropical mango. It's one of my favorite flavors, but this would be a good option if you were sick and tired of water. You could use that. Another one would be Sobe water. I love this. This is actually my preferred drink, but vitamin water is still another good choice. But the reason I like Sobe water is it has less sugar added to it. When I look at the label here, this one actually says 0 grams of sugar in this drink. But in this one, if you look at the vitamin water, this one actually has 32 grams of sugar added to it. So Really, neither one of these are really wrong to have, especially when you're down and sick. But again, like I say, I prefer the soapy water, just because I don't want to have all that extra sugar. But the one that does have the sugar added to it is a good option if you're needing to help raise your glucose levels. I'm just saying, just as an example, if your glucose levels were low, the vitamin water would be your better option. But if you're trying really hard to watch your sugar intake, then the Sobe water would be your better option. But either one are good to have to help replenish those fluids and electrolytes in your body when you are sick. And something else that I like to show is the good old-fashioned remedy of having some warm water with honey, especially if you've been coughing a lot or if you've had a really sore throat, probably from vomiting. I do this myself, is I like to mix some honey with some warm water together to help kind of coat my throat. Now, the reason I want to talk about that a little bit more in detail is with the honey, it's very important to purchase a honey or to use a honey that is in its rawest or most purest form. And the reason why is some honey with some brands, when they are processed, they're put under a high heat process or a filtering process. And what that does is it takes away the benefits. It can actually lower the benefits of the honey. It can, it can reduce the amount of enzymes and amino acids that honey can carry. So even though I know when you go to the store that the most purest or rawest or more organic honey can cost a little bit more money, but honestly, I think it's worth it because, you're getting it to where it's going to be the most beneficial. So if you are going to go about this, I would recommend, like I said, trying to find it in your most rawest or purest form. And I know that there are some honeybee farmers that are local, especially around me. And I've got some friends that I know that have a honeybee farm. And I would also like to try some of their products. Like I said, so the more local, the better. Okay, so those are just some options to help replenish with your fluids. But if you have been throwing up or nothing just sounds good, if not only are fluids a good way to help that, but maybe taking something like a smoothie, a fruit smoothie, and you could add a lot of your fresh fruits. You could add some fresh vegetables like your kale or your spinach. Those are other good ways of replenishing those vitamins and minerals in your body. And then also, obviously, soups are another good option. Oatmeal is another good option if you're trying to get something with a little bit more texture into your system. Yogurt is another really good one. Those are some options that you can use to kind of help getting the nutrition that you need while you're trying to keep your immune system build up while you're sick. So now that that's talking about the food side of things, just some few little helpful common tips that you might want to keep in mind when you're going out in the public, especially, like I said, during this flu season. So I actually do carry all these products with me. I do use these tips that I'm going to tell you. My husband probably thinks that I'm crazy, but I know secretly he's thanking me because I'm also protecting him from getting sick. Okay, so just a few things. So when you're going out and about, like let's say when you're going to go put gas in your car, I would highly recommend you use some hand sanitizer or some type of an antibacterial wipe to wipe down your steering wheel or to use on your hands after you put gas in your car. Why? You may not even think about why that would be important, but let's just use an example. Let's say somebody is sick, they've tested positive for the flu, they're on their way to the doctor, but they need to put gas in the car. So what do? You pick the lane that somebody has used and they've touched that fuel nozzle, and guess what? Now you've touched it and you probably haven't even thought about it, so now you're touching your steering wheel or you're touching your face or now you're increasing your risk of getting that flu virus. So it's always important, or it's a good idea to maybe keep the hand sanitizer and some of these antibacterial wipes. I love these. You can get them almost at any store to use. So they fit great in your purse, and so do these little hand sanitizers. And if you don't have these Clorox wipes, these are awesome. I love these Germ-X sanitizing wipes, and these also come in handy. So when you're traveling, if you have to travel on an airplane, either for work or even if it's for fun, so I do this. I would recommend taking these little wipes and wiping down the tray that's in front of you in your seat on the airplane. I would also wipe down like the armrests, and I would even wipe down the like little air thing at the top. Truthfully, if you could handle it, don't even open your air filter thing on the airplane, because all that is you are just recycling all of that nasty, germy air that could be filtering, or they could be, flowing through the air on the airplane. So I would just don't do that in general. But if you have to have that, maybe you try to wipe it down so where it's not trying to pass on so many of those germs. But so just keep that in mind. And also something else, forgot, this is another very important tip, is if you're going to go out to eat, something that I would recommend is, first of all, I would recommend staying away from a buffet style of type of a diner or a dining place. But if you're going to go there, just a few helpful tips is, I know it may sound crazy, but I would recommend taking your own plasticware. I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen people like pick up a fork and maybe they don't want that one, or they've dropped it. And yes, I've even seen that getting put back into the silverware dispenser. So if you can take your own plasticware, that would be a good idea, because that's helping with some cross-contamination. And then also, when you go to pick up your plate or your dessert bowl, never use the plate or the bowl that's sitting on the very top of the dish rack, okay? Or that rack of dishes that are sitting there, because that one that's sitting on the top is collecting all of those germ particles that somebody's either sneezed out in the open or coughed out in the open, or they've touched it. Just anything like that, I always recommend never touching that very top plate. Always pick the one that's either in the middle or just a few plates under that very top one, because that one has not really been touched by human. It probably has been less touched by human hands and has less opportunity to be cross-contaminated with these nasty germs that are going around. So I hope that helps. If you are struggling this season with the flu, I hope you get to feeling much better. But just remember, it's very important to keep your body hydrated, and it's important to make sure that you keep yourself home, so you're not spreading the virus to other people around you, and to make sure that you're giving your body the rest that it needs so you can recover quickly. Okay? Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.